Good evening. Thank you very much. You may be seated. Thank you. Thank you. First of all, I do want to thank members of Congress for coming back into town a few days early. This is I believe, in the 3 years we've been doing this, is the second year in a row I've done this, and this is, I think, it's a quality time to sit down with both sides of the aisle. I do want to uh, also thank Speaker of the House Johnson and Minority Leader Jeffers. You guys, I want to appreciate you guys' leadership in this, and Mike, also appreciate you just getting back from Texas, being able to attend here this evening. I think it's important that we talk about the priorities of this year as far as legislation is concerned. We have to have a blueprint, um, an idea of what we're going to pursue and how we're going to go about doing it. I think one of the biggest things that we need to get accomplished in pretty fast order is this budget. You know, in the 3 years, we've come down to January after about two or three CRs. It's time for that to end. It's time for us to get a budget passed, then immediately start working on the 25 fiscal year budget, which actually, you think about it, it sounds like it's a long ways away. It's on October 1st is when that budget goes in effect. And here we are, the first days of January, and we're still trying to get the 24 budget passed. Excuse me. That must come to an end. And I want you to know that at least on this side of Pennsylvania Avenue, we're willing to negotiate. We're willing to sit down with you. We're willing to talk about choices that need to be made as far as budget. What we owe the American people who elected us to come up here to represent them. We owe them to do the job. And I think one of it, the key thing is to get this budget passed, and let's don't have another CR. We got a few short days, couple weeks left until funding runs out again, um, and we'll have to make a hard choice at that time. But let's do what we can to get this budget passed. Um, I know there are other priorities. There's border security. That is by far a priority that needs to be addressed, and we've messed around with that for 3 years. Uh, we've stopped construction on the border wall. We've got contracts that were let out. We got material on the Texas border, Arizona border, New Mexico border laying there that's paid for, and we've got immigrants coming into our country illegally every day. We got to put a stop to that. And like I've always said, and you've said this on my visit down to El Paso last year, is the United States always will be an open nation, always will be. But there's a proper way to come about to enter this country, a proper way. A dear friend of mine back home in Texas is associate pastor in my church, moved to the United States from Ghana. He didn't just come to the United States and flee. He came to the United States and went through the proper channels and has got his paperwork and is on his road to be a United States citizen. That's the way you become a citizen in our country. We need to get that issue addressed. But one of the biggest things I want to talk to you this evening about uh, is my education plan. And you've heard me talk about it for several weeks now. Made a trip out to Chicago before Christmas talking about the importance of education, importance of teaching. And it's called Back to Basics. And what it basically is it is Back to Basics. It's a very good name for the program. It's returning a true curriculum to the classrooms. It returns teaching the ABCs, the one, two, threes, the good, the bad, the ugly of American history. Return it to the classrooms because over the last few years, we've changed the curriculum in our classrooms. We sanitized our history. We pulled out the bad things of our history and we're not teaching them. We have to teach the bad things that happen. And I'm not going to sit here at this podium tonight and tell you the United States did everything perfect. We didn't. We did some bad things, but we owe it to the next generation of leaders that are in our classrooms today to teach them what mistakes we made so that they don't repeat them in the future. And that's what Back to Basics is. The key cornerstone of Back to Basics is teacher retention and teacher pay. Now, I want you to picture this, if you may. The ideal behind and the basis behind Back to Basics is this. The education plan will revert to the 2018 federal spending levels and use the difference between 2019 spending levels and the 2024-25 spending levels to fund the education plan, Back to Basics. And I'm talking about, by doing that, there would be a surplus of $1.95 trillion. $1.95 trillion that would be put forward to education. This initiative translates to a remarkable increase in teacher pay. Just for example, in my state of Texas, there are 300 teachers per district. And, well, just the one, let's say, not there's more with bigger school districts, obviously, but just for example, with an average of 300 teachers per district, and there's a charter school that I know of, it's probably got a little bit more than that. This elevation amounts to this elevation in pay amounts to almost an increase where a teacher's making $500,000 a year, $496 to be exact. Now, with this also comes greater accountability and also a little bit lesser accountability. Standardized testing is being held over teachers' heads, and we're going to reduce that a little bit, but we're also going to hold the teachers accountable with these standards. We're going to use the standardized testing as benchmarks to see where our students are, to see what we need to work on. But we're also going to use this Back to Basics plan as a way to educate our teachers through more professional development. And we're going to increase teacher retention. One of the things this Back to Basics plan will do, let's say you're a mid-career person. Let's say you've been in the banking business for, let's say 10, 15, 20 years. You're looking for a change in career. You think teaching would be a noble cause, and it is. You think it'd be great to do. So Back to Basics would, if you have a college degree, you would be hired by the district, and providing you stay in that district or teaching for 1 year, the federal government will pay for your certification. Now you're going to say, hey, districts already do that. That's right. Districts put forth the money to do that. The federal government's going to put forth the money to pay for your certification. And it's another thing too, talking about this huge increase in teacher pay. You're going to say, well, don't states control teacher? Well, they do. And this is not another Washington power grab. This is a way to facilitate teacher retention and greater teacher pay. And what we'll do is we'll give the money to the states to allocate out to the districts. So it's not a power grab. We're not going to seize control of the state and local school districts. We're just going to oversee the distribution of these funds. By doing this, I think we will change education forever in our country, because you have to think about it. And I'm blessed to be married to a teacher. Been married to her for almost 20. Let's see, what is it? Going on 29 years in November. And one of the first years we were married, she wanted to teach summer school, and at the time she did it for the extra pay. At the end of summer school, and just a few short weeks were left in the summer before fall semester kicked up again, she was tired, not ready to go back to school. how do we solve that? And how do we solve so many teachers living at or below the poverty line? Back to basics is going to do that. It's going to do that. And for me, I think this is one of our key priorities I would like to see the Congress pursue this year. I know many presidents throughout history have put their own brand on education, and with some success, have changed the education system. This is my administration's attempt to do that as well, and hopefully something that lasts for a long, long, long time. Because it is time. It is time that we pay teachers a livable wage. You know, so many people get into education because of the lure of 3 months off in the summer, and this ideal that you go to work at 7:15 in the morning, and at 3:45 you're in a car and you're out of there. That's not the case. Teachers work the average of about 80 hours a week. I know Andrea, she just finished Christmas vacation. We just got back yesterday from Texas, and I know that when we were down there, she did work. I'm sure every teacher did a little work on the holidays. It's not just holidays and having fun. There's still a lot of work to be done. And so, back to basics, it's meant to actually compensate for that as well. You know, and like I said, a lot of people get into this profession and think that it is great because of the hours, and they realize quickly that it's not. And I've seen teachers who've taken a job on a Monday morning, and by Monday evening at the end of school, they've quit. This is going to hopefully solve that. So I would hope that we would try to get this in the House and Senate this year. This is one of the key items I want to see us work on, besides the budget, border, and also we can talk about foreign aid. I think that's important as well. But the key thing that we need to work on, I believe at this juncture, is an education plan. Again, I do want to thank you guys for coming over tonight. I know some of you guys flew back a little early from vacation. It's very much appreciative. And I know some of you guys, especially our speaker, flew back literally from El Paso and just landed at Andrews just a few minutes ago to be here for this. But I appreciate you coming here tonight, Speaker Johnson, Leader Jeffers. Thank you so much. I'm asking you two to spearhead this, and let's see if we can get back to basics in Congress, through the House and Senate, and to the President's desk by the end of the year. Again, I want to thank you guys very much for your attendance. Thank you very much, and have a great session. And I'll be talking to you guys about this more in depth at State of the Union coming up, and of course at other events throughout the year. But again, thank you very much, guys, for coming out. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.